Triumph of the Mistreated Luna, a werewolf shifter romance, written by Lily Robert. Prologue. The whispers hit her first, then the stares. Hundreds of eyes, maybe thousands, all fixed on her with predatory intensity. Every pack within traveling distance has gathered to witness Celine's fall, and the sound of their judgment swells, threatening to drown her beneath its weight. The ropes around her wrist cut into flesh. The light of the courtroom, after days spent in a dark cell, is too bright. Her silk dress, once a symbol of her station, hangs in ruins around her shoulders. No time allowed to change, to salvage even that small dignity. The marble floor bites at her bare feet as the guards force her forward, but it's the weight of those collective stares that truly makes each step feel like walking through broken glass. How far she's fallen. They whisper, "Is this really our Luna?" The voices blur together, but their contempt rings clear. Celine forces herself to keep her chin high, though her legs threaten to buckle. And then she sees him. He sits on his throne like a god descended from Olympus, all raw power and devastating beauty. Leo. Her mate. Her alpha. Golden hair catches the morning light streaming through stained glass windows, creating a halo effect that makes him appear otherworldly. His shoulders, broad and powerful beneath his tailored jacket, remain perfectly straight. A king, passing judgment, unmoved by mere mortal concerns. Even now, even after everything, the sight of him knocks the breath out of her lungs. If she closes her eyes, she can still remember how his lips felt against her throat, how his scent would warm with desire at the mere sight of her, how that liquid gold gaze once held something other than contempt. But his scent now is all aggression. Pine turned to steel, sharp enough to draw blood. It fills the hall, choking her, making her wolf want to bare its throat in submission. The force of his dominance presses against her skin like a physical weight. The guards force her to her knees before the dais. The marble is brutal against her bones, but she barely feels it. She can't look away from Leo's face, from the cold fury in his eyes. Luna Celine. His voice carries easily through the hall, rich and commanding. Every syllable drips with authority that makes her wolf whimper. You stand here today, amongst our people and allies, in front of your alpha and the alphas that stand with him, to be tried for the crime of murder. The accusation hangs in the air like poison. More gasps, more whispers. She feels the horror and judgment rolling off the crowd in waves. You are accused of poisoning Bella, my consort, and our unborn child. My heir. Leo's voice cracks slightly on the word heir, the only sign that he feels anything at all about this. The whispers explode into outright murmurs now. Celine catches fragments of conversations, each one a dagger to her heart. She was always jealous. Couldn't give him children herself. Probably went mad with envy. They all believe it. The pack, their allies, and worst of all, her mate. They truly think her capable of this, of murdering an innocent woman and an unborn child. She will not survive this trial, she realizes. The knowledge settles in her bones like ice. But perhaps that's fitting. She has only one real regret, one that claws at her throat and makes her eyes burn, the knowledge that she has lost her one true love forever. How do you plead, Luna? Leo's question cuts through her thoughts like a blade. Celine opens her mouth, tasting copper and tragedy on her tongue, and she takes a breath as she prepares to seal her fate. Chapter 1. 6 months ago. Celine traces the rim of her third cup of coffee, now gone cold. 2 hours. She has been waiting 2 hours. The morning sun streams through the dining room's floor-to-ceiling windows, casting long shadows across the untouched place, setting across from her. Her mate's place. Empty as ever. Always empty nowadays. God, Celine can't even remember the last time they've had breakfast together, let alone shared a bed. But she'd specifically requested this meeting this morning, emphasized its importance, and she thought she'd make it pleasant, preparing all of her mate's favorite dishes herself. Leo likes being cooked for, likes the attention. She's willing to give him attention, can't he see that? She's even wearing a pink gown, a color she abhors, but which Leo finds fetching. All for nothing, though, as it turns out. Celine isn't sure why she still tries, only that there is no other option, perhaps. My Luna? Sarah, her private secretary, approaches with an armful of papers. The florist needs your final approval on the centerpieces for tonight's diplomatic dinner. Celine straightens in her chair, shoulders back, chin lifted, the perfect picture of composure despite the knot forming in her stomach. Has there been any word from the Alpha? She asks. Sarah hesitates, and that pause tells Celine everything she needs to know. I'm afraid not, my Luna. I see. Celine keeps her voice steady, even though frustration is bubbling up inside her. Show me the arrangements. As Sarah lays out the sketches, a steady stream of staff members flows through the dining room, each seeking the Luna's guidance. Celine handles each inquiry with practiced grace, never letting her mounting anxiety show. The seating chart is especially tricky. One wrong move, putting the wrong people next to each other, and old grudges could flare up. And what of our guest of honor? Celine asks. Has Alpha Michael confirmed his attendance? Sarah's face falls. That's actually what I came to tell you, my Luna. We received word this morning. Alpha Michael sends his regrets, but he will not be attending. The knot in Celine's stomach tightens. This dinner was arranged specifically to address the growing tensions between our packs, she says. His absence will be seen as a direct slight by Leo. Michael is sending his younger brother in his stead to present the Panther Shifter's interests, Sarah replies, a diplomatic proxy. Celine closes her eyes briefly. This doesn't bode well. Where is my mate now, Sarah? And please don't spare my feelings. Sarah shifts uncomfortably. The Alpha was last seen heading to the East Wing, tending to Lady Bella. Tending to Mira, Celine thinks. Of course, what else? She rises from her chair, smoothing non-existent wrinkles from her silk blouse. Then I suppose I'll have to go to him, won't I? She smiles. After all, if the mountain won't come to Mohammed. My Luna? Sarah grimaces. Perhaps I could... No. Celine's tone is gentle but firm. The alliance with the Panther Shifters is crumbling, and if we don't handle tonight's dinner perfectly, we risk losing our oldest and most powerful allies. Our Alpha needs to be reminded of what's at stake. As she strides from the dining room, her staff parts before her like water around a stone. Celine holds her head high, her steps measured and graceful, despite the urgency thrumming through her veins. She is Luna of the most powerful wolf shifter pack in the region. She will not run, will not show weakness, even if she has to march straight into her mate's latest indiscretion to do her duty. Keep breathing, stay calm, show nothing. The mantra echoes in her mind with each step, a rhythm she has perfected over years of practice. Whatever she finds in the East Wing, she will face it with dignity. It is what she owes her pack, even if her mate has forgotten what they owe each other. Chapter 2. Bella's voice carries through the heavy oak door of Leo's office, light and breathy. Celine's steps don't falter, even as her throat tightens. She dedicates herself to that goal, molding herself into the perfect Luna, the ideal partner for a powerful Alpha. These days, though, it feels like she is the only one who remembers that pledge. The big, strong Alpha needs his strength. Bella's voice coos, followed by girlish laughter. Celine opens the door without knocking. It is her right as Luna, though lately even that seems forgotten. The scene before her is exactly what she expects, yet it still strikes like a physical blow. Bella, perched on Leo's desk, wearing nothing but a familiar blue shirt. His birthday gift, Celine notes with recognition. the one I had tailored in London last spring for him. Bella is holding a strawberry to Leo's lips, and he watches her with undisguised fondness, a look Celine hasn't seen directed at her in years. Another bite? Bella wiggles the fruit playfully. Leo catches her wrist, pulling her onto his lap with a growl. Alpha! She squeals in delight. Celine clears her throat softly. Leo's eyes meet hers, and it's like watching summer turn to winter in the space of a heartbeat. More jarring still than his cold look is how familiar this coldness has become. My Luna, he says, formal, though he doesn't move to push Bella away. Even lounging in his chair, with his mistress draped across his lap like a favored pet, Leo emanates the raw power that marks him as alpha. It rolls off him in waves, pressing against Celine's skin. My alpha, she greets in turn, forcing her voice steady. He is achingly familiar, and yet a stranger, this man who wears her mate's face but looks through her as though she's little more than an interruption to his afternoon. Celine finds herself wishing she could match his indifference. But even now, even after everything, her wolf recognizes his dominance, and she feels like an intruder in her own domain. It's absurd, she knows. She is Luna, his equal in theory, if not in practice. But his stare is so cold. Celine, Bella beams, snuggling closer to Leo. Have you come to join our breakfast? Our breakfast. The words, its implication, echo mockingly. But Celine keeps her expression neutral, her posture perfect. Alpha, we need to discuss tonight's arrangements, she replies instead. Leo's jaw tightens. What about them? He asks, nipping at Bella's ear. The matter requires privacy, Celine replies. Bella can be very private. Leo purrs, his hand sliding possessively up the girl's thigh. The scent of his arousal fills the room, sharp and deliberate. This concerns pack business, Celine persists. Alpha business. Leo sighs heavily. Wait for me outside, little one, he says, setting Bella down. The latter pouts. If my alpha commands me to walk the halls in nothing but his shirt. She sighs, twirling toward the door, the shirt riding up dangerously high. Celine watches Leo track the movement, his expression darkening with desire. The bond between them thrums with his want. Not for her, never for her anymore. Celine forces herself to breathe through it, steady and measured. About tonight's dinner, she begins, but Leo cuts her off. Was it necessary to send her away like that? He snaps, and Celine's eyes widen. I wasn't aware my mate could no longer speak with me in private, she says quietly. Bella was having a difficult morning. Leo growls. She's had a late night with her friends and feeling fragile. Are you saying I should have waited because your mistress is hungover? You say that like it's a crime, Leo snarls. Bella's young, she enjoys having fun as she should. I never said she shouldn't, and you know it. Celine's voice remains steady, even as she thinks of the whispers spreading through the pack about Bella's wild parties. All her public displays make both Alpha and Luna look like fools. You don't have to be so cold to the girl, Leo berates. I am Luna of this pack. I treat her with the same decorum I show everyone else. Well, Bella isn't just anyone, Leo retorts. She's special. Special? Celine repeats, incredulous. She's special to me. Leo's expression softens as he meets her eyes, as if daring Celine to say anything. With Bella, I feel things I haven't felt in years. Leo continues, his gaze expectant. She's nothing but sweetness and light. She's fun. He stretches. The implication hangs heavy between them. Bella's fun. Bella's sweet. Celine is not. Is her mate blaming Celine for the distance between them? For the lack of warmth in their marriage? As if he hasn't been the one to repeatedly abandon their bed? Celine swallows it all down. What is there to say after all? He is Alpha. He can do as he pleases, no matter how it reflects on her. Alpha Michael won't be attending tonight. He's sending his brother instead, she says. Leo's expression shifts from disappointment to fury. Of course he is. These arrogant cats, sitting on resources both our packs need. And for what? Their precious heritage? He spits the word like a curse. They can't see reason. Their customs are different from ours, Celine reminds him carefully. Given the circumstances, their caution is understandable. They want to protect. And what is there to protect, Celine? They're a dying breed and would do good to acknowledge it instead of wasting all our time. Celine holds her tongue. The panthers are indeed declining in numbers, their ancient bloodlines thinning. Unlike wolves, they can only produce pure-blooded offspring with their fated mates, a fact that has led to their current predicament. But reminding Leo of that would only fuel his anger. I suppose this is my fault, Leo growls. If I hadn't trusted you to handle the negotiations like a fool. I'll focus on the emissary tonight. Celine cuts in smoothly, knowing his accusations will fade once his temper cools. I've already adjusted the seating arrangements. No, Leo barks, his smile turning cruel. I think someone more neutral would be better. Someone young and charming. Celine's stomach drops. What are you saying? I'm saying Bella has more to offer than you might think. She'll handle the emissary tonight. The humiliation burns hot in Celine's chest. To have a mistress, barely 18 and completely ignorant of pack politics, handle such delicate negotiations is unprecedented. Leo knows this. He knows the pack will talk, but he wants to humiliate Celine. Leo hates being disappointed, and when things don't go his way, he inevitably always is. He wants to stab, to hurt, and to punish. So, Celine merely nods, knowing she will need to find a way around this when Leo is reasonable once more. She leaves his office with her head high, mind swirling with contingency plans, only to find Bella leaning against the wall outside, still wearing nothing but Leo's shirt. That took forever, the girl observes. Celine barely spares her a glance. She doesn't have time nor anything to say to her mate's mistress. But as she begins to walk away, the girl's voice catches up with her, sugary sweet. Wait up, Celine, Bella calls out. I think you and I need to talk. Chapter 3. Celine's diplomatic smile freezes on her face, Bella's familiar tone striking her like a physical blow. Come on, Celine. Bella clasps her hands together, the oversized shirt slipping off one shoulder. I've been hoping to talk to you. Just us girls. No one in the pack ever addresses her with such familiarity. To do so isn't just a sign of disrespect, but a blatant challenge to the pack's hierarchy. And to wolves, hierarchy is everything. One cannot function without clear leadership. Bella, as she stands, with her conniving smiles and casual demeanor, is doing no less than putting the pack's stability into question. Whether she means to or not remains to be determined. I'm afraid I have preparations to oversee. Celine tries to excuse herself, but Bella isn't about to let her get away. See? That's exactly what I mean, she exclaims, reaching for Celine's hand, her fingers warm and soft. Something maternal in Celine wants to correct this breach of protocol gently, to guide this child toward proper behavior. But before she can, Bella's next words shatter that impulse. We barely spend any time together, and it makes me so sad. You and I are practically sisters after all, and... I beg your pardon? Celine raises an eyebrow. Sisters? Bella blinks innocently. Why, of course, she beams. Do we not share everything as only true sisters would? Our mate, our pack? The shock of it steals Celine's breath. Their mate? Their pack? The sheer audacity of the statement wars with the innocent hope shining in Bella's eyes. You cannot truly share a mate, Bella, Celine says, gently extracting her hand, fighting to keep her composure. A mating is formed between two people, not three. Now, I should really... Bella shakes her head in earnest determination, like she somehow thinks Celine is the child in need of cajoling here. I know it must be hard, the girl presses on, lowering her voice to a conspiratorial whisper that feels both intimate and invasive. Being unable to give Leo an heir? Dear me, the pressure must be terrible. Bella's face contorts with pity as she squeezes Celine's arm. You're not alone anymore, sister, she soothes sweetly. I can help take that burden from you. What? Celine swallows a gasp. Surely Bella isn't saying what Celine thinks she is. You may be barren, but I'm not, Bella happily proclaims, each of her words feeling like a dagger sliding between Celine's ribs. And through them all, Bella smiles. I will give Leo an heir, the girl concludes, giving Celine's hand a squeeze. So you don't have to worry, all right? Pain blooms in Celine's chest. Is this calculated cruelty or the clumsy enthusiasm of youth? The girl is barely 18. Perhaps she truly doesn't understand how deeply her words cut. Lady Bella, Celine says carefully, summoning the patient tone she might use with a wayward pup. Her wolf urges her to snap, to put this presumptuous girl in her place, but Celine pushes that instinct down. I believe there's been a misunderstanding. You can't take any of my so-called burdens from me. Should you bear Leo a child, it would be illegitimate and therefore not an heir to the pack. She gentles her voice further, trying to guide rather than wound. Only a Luna can bear an heir, and there can only be one Luna, which is me, and you should remember to address me as such. I can't be Celine or sister to you. You understand? Apparently she doesn't, for tears well instantly in Bella's hazel eyes, a raw hurt that makes Celine second-guess her assessment. How cruel! Bella sniffles, making no effort to contain her tears. My baby would be just as special, just as loved as yours would be. Her voice cracks on the words, and she wipes at her eyes with the back of her hand. This isn't about love, Celine explains, gentling her tone further. A part of her wants to comfort the girl, to explain the complexities of pack politics and tradition in a way that won't cause such obvious distress. I'm quite certain the alpha would cherish any of his children. But in terms of legitimacy and succession, only the Luna's offspring can inherit his position and authority over the pack. These are our laws, our traditions. Bella sniffles once more, dabbing at her eyes. For a moment, her vulnerability seems so complete that Celine almost reaches for her. Then Bella's lips curve into a small smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes, and she whispers, "We'll see about that." Celine frowns, wondering if she's heard right. She is about to ask Bella to repeat herself when the latter spins on her heels toward Leo's office. "See you tonight, Celine," Bella says, her voice honey-sweet as she emphasizes the name, twirling away. Celine watches her disappear down the corridor, her emotions churning like storm waters. The transformation from wounded child to something else entirely happens so smoothly that she finds herself wondering if she's imagined it. The girl's performance, if it is a performance, had been flawless. The eager smile, the trembling lip, yet that final smile, that parting shot. Celine presses a hand to her sternum, willing the ache there to subside. Either the girl is dangerously naive or dangerously clever, and Celine isn't sure which possibility worries her more. Chapter 4. The moment Celine's hand touches the ornate double doors of the grand ballroom, her wolf's instincts scream of danger. Something is wrong. The air itself feels charged with anticipation, eerie stillness before a storm. She has no choice but to brace that storm, though. She takes in a long breath. The doors swing open, and then 200 pairs of eyes snap to Celine at once. The grand ballroom has been transformed for the evening, crystal chandeliers casting warm light over tables draped in cream silk. every detail she's personally overseen. But no one is admiring her careful planning. Instead, they are watching her, waiting. Sharks, all of them, hungry for blood. The whispers start like autumn leaves skittering across marble. Soft at first, then building. Though guests bow respectfully as she passes, their eyes never leave her, and their voices rise in her wake the moment she moves beyond them. Her emerald silk gown is the picture of propriety, its high neckline and flowing lines suggesting rather than revealing. Yet still, they stare, and still, they whisper. What are they waiting for? Her heart picks up speed, though she forces her steps to remain measured, elegant. A duchess from a neighboring pack lifts her fan to hide her mouth as she leans toward her companion, both their gazes fixed on Celine with something like mockery. The weight of their attention presses against her skin. Has she forgotten some essential piece of clothing? Is there something in her hair? Then her gaze finds the head table, and the bottom drops out of her stomach. There, on Leo's left, a place that should remain empty in deference to his Luna's position at his right, sits a third chair. And in it, draped across Leo's arm like a lover's fantasy, is Bella. The girl wears pink silk that clings to every curve, practically sitting in Leo's lap and feeding him morsels from her plate with her fingers while he watches her with undisguised hunger. They look like teenagers at their first dance, not an alpha and his what? What is Bella now to warrant such a placement? Celine's steps don't falter, though her mind races. This is unprecedented. Mistresses are rarely invited to diplomatic functions, let alone seated beside the alpha. Yet here Bella is making herself comfortable in a seat of honor, giggling as she dabs wine from Leo's lips. The whispers grow louder, more pointed. A group of young wolves doesn't even bother to lower their voices as they speculate about what this means for their Luna's position. Celine catches fragments, losing his interest, and probably barren anyway, that cut like claws. But there's no turning back now. The doors behind her have closed, and 200 pairs of eyes watch her slow advance toward the head table. All the shifters in the room are waiting, hungry for her reaction, eager to see how the Luna will handle such a public slight. And through it all, Leo hasn't even bothered to stand in greeting, hasn't so much as glanced in her direction, too absorbed in whatever sweet nothing Bella is whispering in his ear. Celine measures her breaths carefully, knowing everyone in the room can hear her heartbeat if she lets it betray her. Any sign of weakness will reflect poorly not just on her, but on the pack itself. Yet she can't reach her seat without somehow acknowledging this breach of protocol, this deliberate humiliation. They say the Luna of the Silver Wolf Pack is as beautiful as she is cold. A voice cuts through her thoughts. I see they were right on both counts. Celine turns, a diplomatic deflection ready on her lips, only to find herself momentarily speechless. The man before her is devastating in his beauty, all lean grace and contained power. Dark waves fall carelessly across his forehead, and his eyes. Dear goddess, his eyes are the deep blue of twilight, crinkled at the corners with barely suppressed mischief. He moves with a predator's fluid grace that marks him as something other than wolf. Cat got your tongue? His smirk deepens, and Celine finds her composure. Forgive me, sir, but since we've yet to be properly introduced, I'm not quite sure how cold I should be when putting you in your place. His grin brightens as he executes a formal bow, that gleam of amusement never leaving his eyes. Allow me to fix it then, my queen. I'm here on King Michael's behalf, representing the Panther Pack. And please, feel free to always put me in my place in whatever way you see fit. The title choice, King rather than Alpha, confirms what his movements suggest. You must be Jace Devereaux, she observes, arching an eyebrow. How kind of you to make the trip in your Alpha's stead. We are delighted to have you. Delighted? When you were expecting Michael? He laughs, leaning in conspiratorially. People are usually quite miffed at the switch, if I'm being honest. Well, you do seem to enjoy being honest. A smile tugs at her lips despite herself. Jace inclines his head again. Very much so, my queen. I do hope you'll grant me the same courtesy. Once we're better acquainted, that is. Celine studies him, unable to quite read whether his playful tone masks mockery or genuine warmth. She offers a polite nod. Well, I look forward to getting more acquainted, sir. If you'll excuse me. She moves to step away, suddenly remembering her predicament. Leo still hasn't acknowledged her presence, and Bella's tinkling laugh carries across the room. In a split-second decision, Celine turns back to Jace. Come to think of it, how would you like to get better acquainted now? Her tone makes it less a question than a royal command. Jace's eyebrow lifts as his gaze flicks briefly toward Leo before returning to her. His smile holds understanding and something that might be admiration. Why, my queen, I'd be honored. He extends his hand with exquisite courtesy, though that dangerous sparkle still dances in his eyes. Celine smirks, hiding her relief. With a subtle gesture, she signals for her chair to be moved beside Jace's. The servants comply, and she feels Leo's gaze from across the table. So now he deigns to look at her, then, she thinks. Their eyes meet briefly, his expression unreadable, distant, before he offers a perfunctory nod of greeting. And all the while, his hand settles possessively on Bella's thigh. Celine's wolf paces restlessly beneath her skin. What game is Leo playing, parading the girl around like this? He's had other mistresses in the past, of course, a harsh truth Celine has had no choice but to accept. However, those past affairs have been brief, a night or two at most. But Bella arrived months ago, and Leo only seems to grow more besotted with her by the day, forsaking his duties to indulge her every whim. What can Celine do? Leo is alpha, his word is law, and his desires as well. But she is his mate, and surely this continued affront can't go on. Surely her position, her feelings, should matter a little bit as well. Once everyone is served, Leo raises his glass. Distinguished guests, his voice carries across the hushed room. We are honored tonight to host an esteemed member of the Panther Shifters pack. The honor is mine, Jace replies smoothly, and I'm particularly delighted that the Alpha has lent me his Luna for the evening. A fresh wave of whispers ripples through the crowd. Leo's jaw clenches, though his smile remains fixed. As is our tradition, he continues, we'll begin with this evening's opening speech and end-of-year address. Celine shifts in her seat, mentally reviewing the careful words she's prepared. But before she can rise, Leo turns to Bella, taking her hand with exaggerated gentility. Darling? The pain is swift and sharp, like a blade between her ribs. Celine's nails dig into her palms beneath the table as Bella preens under Leo's fond gaze. Yes, she squeals. Bella ducks her head in a parody of demure grace before beaming like a child given a special treat. Welcome, everyone. We're so happy to see you all here tonight to celebrate with us. Excuse me. Jace's voice cuts through the stunned silence, smooth as silk. Shouldn't the Luna of the pack give the speech? The room erupts in murmurs as if they'd all been waiting for permission. Questions booms and protests fare. Celine caught between mortification and dread as their gazes dart between her and Leo, hungry for a good scandal. About that? Leo rises slowly, keeping Bella's hand firmly in his. Before the speech, there's an announcement I'd like to make. Celine's stomach plummets. She lets none of it show. Chapter 5. The silence that follows Leo's announcement is deafening. Celine's heightened senses pick up every minute reaction in the room. The sharp intake of breath from the older pack members, the excited whispers of the younger ones, the subtle shift in body language as allegiances realign before her eyes. Her wolf bristles beneath her skin, recognizing the threat to their position, even as Celine maintains her perfect mask of composure. As many of you know, Leo continues, his voice carrying easily through the stunned silence. Bella has become very dear to me. Tonight, I wish to officially recognize her as my consort. The scent of shock ripples through the crowd, a sharp, acrid tang that makes Celine's nostrils flare. But beneath it lies something worse: anticipation. The metallic taste of opportunity in the air as pack members calculate what this means for their own positions. Bella preens under the attention, her cheeks flushed with champagne and triumph. "I'm so honored," she gushes, managing to sound both innocent and victorious at once. "I promise to serve the pack with all my heart." "I expect everyone to treat Bella with the respect her new position demands," Leo adds, his eyes sweeping the room before landing meaningfully on Celine. She meets his gaze evenly, though her wolf howls in protest. The position of consort hasn't existed in their pack for generations, not since the dark ages when alphas kept harems. To resurrect it now, and for this slip of a girl. But Celine merely inclines her head in acknowledgement, the perfect picture of grace under fire. "Of course, Alpha," she murmurs, loud enough for those nearest to hear. "Whatever pleases you." The tension in the room shifts, breaks. Like water finding its level, the pack begins to adapt to this new reality. Already, Celine can see the younger wolves gravitating toward Bella, drawn by her youth and apparent access to power. The girl holds court like a natural, giggling and twirling between her new admirers. The new consort seems to be taking it well, Jace observes beside her, his voice pitched low enough that only she can hear. "If you wish to pay your respects, don't let me stop you," Celine replies smoothly. "I said nothing about paying respects." Jace's lips curl into that knowing smirk. Merely observing an interesting political maneuver. He continues, twilight eyes studying her face as he adds, "Though I wonder if your alpha realizes exactly what kind of precedent he's setting." Before Celine can respond, the music swells, and couples begin to fill the dance floor. Bella is at the center of it all, her movements more suited to a nightclub than a diplomatic function. "My Luna." Leo's voice washes over her like summer thunder, and Celine's wolf stirs instinctively at the proximity of their alpha. She hadn't sensed him approach, a testament to how focused she'd been on maintaining her composure. His scent hits her then, that familiar blend of pine and raw power that once made her knees weak. Now it's tainted with traces of Bella's perfume and the sharp spice of his earlier arousal for the girl. He extends his hand, and Celine's gaze catches on the strong lines of his fingers, remembering how they once traced her skin with reverence. "Would you honor me with a dance?" The invitation is a command. They both know it. Just as they both know every eye in the room is on them, hungry for any sign of discord. Celine places her hand in his, allowing him to lead her to the floor. His hand settles at her waist, familiar yet strange. They move together with the ease of long practice, though the space between them feels vast. "The arrangements tonight are exquisite," he says conversationally, "though you didn't have to exile yourself to Jace's end of the table." "This dinner is primarily for the Panthers, if you recall," she responds, keeping her voice light. "We would both do well to focus on improving that relationship tonight." She doesn't add that Leo purposely ignoring Jace as he'd asked her to dance hadn't particularly helped their cause. Her mate's fingers tighten slightly at her waist as it is. "And what do you make of our feline friend?" he asks, voice smooth and calculating. "He's difficult to read," Celine admits. "Not as openly hostile as Michael, which is something at least." "Well, Jace isn't the alpha, is he? He probably knows better than his brother how he should behave." Celine holds back a grimace. Leo's blatant annoyance with the Panthers really isn't helping. Why is Celine always the one playing ambassador between her mate and everyone else? "It has nothing to do with power," she replies, remembering the dangerous grace of Jace's movements, the knowing gleam in his blue eyes. That man did not lack power in the least, she thinks. "Besides," Celine adds to Leo. I'm not exactly sure he knows how to behave. He seems to have trouble taking anything seriously, if I'm being honest. Her mate's gaze meet hers. Did you find him attractive? He asks, something dangerous lurking behind his velvety tone. The question catches Celine off guard. Haven't noticed, she replies, purposely avoiding thinking of Jace's lips, which, as they were, had been quite pleasing indeed. Leo's laugh holds no warmth. The perfect Luna, as always. Tell me, do you ever let that mask slip? Did you expect anything less? She challenges softly. His attention drifts to where Bella dances, her movements growing more provocative with each glass of champagne. The scent of his arousal spikes, sharp and immediate. She's so young, he murmurs, more to himself than to Celine. So innocent. Completely oblivious of her effect on men, of the power she holds. Celine thinks of Bella's calculated smile in the hallway earlier, but holds her tongue. Let him believe what he wishes. The music draws to a close. Leo's lips brush her forehead in a gesture that feels more like marking territory than affection. Thank you for the dance, my Luna. Celine dips into a perfect curtsy, though the formal gesture tastes like ash in her mouth. My alpha. Just as he is about to walk off, Leo suddenly turns back to her, giving Celine a strange, assessing glance. You can be quite oblivious yourself, Celine, he says. Remember that. His expression is unreadable. But before Celine can decipher it, Bella's laughter rings out again, and Leo is gone. There would be no keeping him away from her this evening, though if Celine only knew what was about to happen in just a moment, she might have thought there would be no keeping Leo from Bella ever at all. Chapter 6. Abandoned by Leo, Celine straightens her shoulders and turns to the task at hand, working the room, soothing ruffled feathers, ensuring that tonight's shock announcement doesn't destabilize the pack's delicate political balance. I assure you, Lady Montgomery, the trade routes through our territory remain as secure as ever, she soothes, addressing the elderly Alpha's concerns with practiced grace. Of course, dear, Lady Montgomery pats her arm. Though one does wonder, with your Alpha so preoccupied. My mate trusts me to handle such matters, Celine replies smoothly. After all, what is a Luna if not her Alpha's partner in all things? She moves through the crowd with careful precision, each conversation a delicate dance. The Luna's composure is remarkable, she overhears someone whisper, especially given the circumstances. Celine pretends not to hear, though her wolf bristles at their pity. Instead, she focuses on Baron Way, whose support they'll need for the upcoming territory negotiations. Your pack's reputation for strength remains unquestioned, she assures him, noting how his shoulders relax slightly. These recent changes are merely internal adjustments. Hours pass in this careful navigation of politics and pride. Celine's feet ache in her heels, but she doesn't let it show. She's almost satisfied that she's contained the worst of the political fallout when movement on the dance floor draws her attention. The sight stops her mid-sentence. Leo and Bella dance, he plastered against her back, and she, head lolling back against his shoulder, lips parted, her eyes half closed. The scent of their mutual desire carries even across the crowded room. Celine doesn't think anyone will dare approach the Alpha now, not when it's clear where his focus is this evening. But to her surprise, Jace approaches Leo without a care in the world, and soon the two men exchange are walking off together, likely to speak privately. And it's back to more relationship building for Celine. To the Northern Pax Beta, she offers reassurances about their timber contracts. To the Southern Alliance's emissary, she drops subtle hints about future cooperation that make his eyes gleam with interest. Another hour passes by, and then, My Luna? Sarah materializes at her elbow, wringing her hands. There's a situation that requires your attention. Not now, Sarah. I'm in the middle of damage control. Celine turns back to the trade minister she'd been reassuring. But my Luna, it's about Lady Bella. The Alpha specifically requested. Celine sighs. Is she drunk again? No, my Luna, it's... Sarah flushes scarlet, unable to finish. Whatever it is can wait 5 minutes. I need to finish this conversation. But even as the words leave her mouth, she notices the trade minister's eyes widen in shock, fixed on something behind her. The scent of aggressive male desire hits her nose just as she turns. 2 alphas from neighboring packs have Bella corralled between them, their postures predatory. And the girl seems oblivious to the danger, giggling as she sways between them and who Celine assumes is her bodyguard, for she's seen his tall blonde man escorting her before, remembers his slightly crooked nose and professional stance. Right now, though, his dark eyes are glazed with barely contained need. You smell divine, little one of the alphas growls, leaning too close. The guard's answering snarl carries more possessiveness than professional concern. Step back, he warns, but his own scent betrays him. That's when Celine catches it, beneath the champagne and perfume, an unmistakable sweetness that makes her blood run cold. The scent of impending heat, rich and cloying, now impossible to ignore. Around them, other wolves are noticing too. She sees nostrils flare, pupils dilate, postures change from casual to predatory. Whispers erupt like wildfire. Is she actually in heat? Here? How dare she come to a diplomatic function? She know better? Elder wolves are already shepherding their younger packmates toward the exits, shooting disapproving glares in Bella's direction. A heat in public is more than just a faux pas. It's dangerous, risking territorial disputes, challenge fights, even blood feuds if unmated alphas lose control. How had Celine not noticed earlier? More importantly, how had Bella herself not noticed? The signs of an impending heat are impossible to miss. The fever that builds for days, the heightened emotions, the way scents become overwhelmingly intense. Every young wolf is thoroughly educated about their cycles, precisely to prevent situations like this. Unless the girl is too young and inexperienced to recognize them. Celine moves without conscious thought, her authority radiating from every step. Bella, she calls out, the crowd parting before her like water. There's an urgent matter we must discuss. She reaches for the girl's arm, but Bella jerks away. I'm having fun! Bella giggles as her guard tries to guide her away, though she leans into his touch easily. Her skin is flushed, eyes glassy with more than just champagne. Everyone wants to dance with me, she gushes. The scandal of it all hangs thick in the air. Somewhere in the crowd, Celine hears a mother urgently whisper to her daughter about that kind of female who would deliberately enter heat in public to attract attention. Another elder wolf is already drafting a formal letter of complaint in his head, she can tell from his muttering. Bella seems oblivious to it all, to the way she's violating every social code their society holds dear. Others in, to the political nightmare she's creating. She just giggles, pressing closer to her guard, whose eyes have gone wolf gold with instinct. One of the unmated alphas smirks, taking a step closer. The lady wants to stay. He growls, a predatory glint in his eyes. Clearly he isn't trying very hard to fight his instincts. Idiot. Doesn't he realize if he so much as touches Bella, Leo will have his head if not his entire pack's? Celine draws herself up to her full height, letting her power flow freely now. The lady, she snaps, is coming with me. Now. Chapter 7. The temperature in the room seems to drop several degrees. Even the young unmated alphas by Bella's side seem to freeze in place. Celine, why do you always have to be so... Bella begins, but Celine's glare silences her. I am your Luna, she says, quiet but carrying. And you will come with me this instant, or I will have you carried. A young male bristle, pushing closer. We don't take orders from... Celine's laugh is cold as winter. You don't take orders from me? In my territory? At my mate's gathering? Her wolf prowls just beneath her skin, and she lets them see it in her eyes. For a moment, no one moves. Then, one by one, the alphas lower their eyes, tilting their heads. My apologies, Luna, one of them muster. Only Bella's guard remains in this way now, rigid, his protective stance more possessive by the second. She's my charge, he growls. I'll escort her. You will step aside, Celine corrects him. Your judgment is compromised. I would never... Your scent betrays you. Celine's voice could freeze flame. Guards! Two men materialize at her command. The guard muscles bunch as if to resist, but Bella's needy whimper at the display of dominance seems to shock him back to awareness. Restrain him, Celine orders. Discreetly. Then, Celine wraps an arm around Bella's waist, supporting the girl who suddenly seems unsteady on her feet. How could she not have recognized the symptoms? A first heat is impossible to miss. The fever, the increased sensitivity, the way scents become overwhelming. Unless this isn't her first. Unless Bella had lied about more than just her age. But that's a problem for later. Right now, Celine has a crisis to manage. Celine guides Bella through the halls, fighting waves of discomfort as the girl's heat scent grows stronger. It's cloying, almost sickeningly sweet. Deliberately so, she realizes with a twist in her gut. The scent carries markers of submission and fertility, specifically designed to appeal to Leo's alpha nature. You've ruined everything, Bella complains, stumbling slightly. Everyone was having such a wonderful time until you got jealous about Leo's announcement. You're in heat, Celine cuts in flatly. If I'd left you there another minute, we'd have had a riot on our hands. Bella freezes mid-step. What? No, that's impossible. I can't be... Her eyes go wide with genuine shock. You're lying, she whines. You did this somehow, to embarrass me. Celine suppresses the urge to shake sense into the girl. She's dealt with enough newly presented wolves to know that aggression will only make things worse. Females in heat, especially sensitive ones like Bella, need gentle handling. Sarah, she addresses her assistant, change your clothes, then find the alpha, discreetly. We don't need your scent carrying traces of... She gestures vaguely at Bella, who has started to whimper. By the time they reach Bella's chambers, the girl is burning with fever, her earlier belligerence melting into pitiful moans. Celine helps her out of her dress, knowing how unbearable fabric can feel against heat-sensitive skin. Since this is your first heat, she explains gently, and you're unmated, it falls to your alpha to decide who will help you through it. No one, Bella gasps, grabbing Celine's wrist with surprising strength. No one but Leo. He's the only one. He loves me above all others. He told me so. Her eyes lock onto Celine's, fever-bright but triumphant. More than life itself, even. The door crashes open before Celine can respond. Leo fills the doorway, his scent a storm of protective fury. What happened? He demands, eyes flashing gold. Why wasn't she being watched? The accusation in his voice is clear. This is somehow Celine's fault. Bella whines, high and needy, and Leo's entire demeanor changes. He's at her side in an instant, gathering her close, crooning soft reassurances. Shh, little one, I'm here now. His protective gestures quickly turn hungry as Bella's heat scent spikes. She arches into him with a desperate sound, and Leo growls, deep and possessive. His hands slide down her bare shoulders as he promises to take care of her, to give her everything she needs. The wave of raw desire that crashes through their mate bond nearly brings Celine to her knees. She turns to flee. Protocol be damned. The sight of her mate responding to another wolf's heat is more than she can bear. Celine. Leo's voice stops her at the door. He's shielding Bella from view with his body, his eyes wild with barely contained need. No one comes near these chambers until further notice. No one. She manages a nod before escaping into the hall, her mate's arousal still burning through their bond like acid in her veins. The walk to her quarters passes in a blur. Celine barely makes it inside before her composure cracks, a sob catching in her throat. She presses her forehead against the cool wood of the door, fingers splayed across its surface as she fights for control. A soft knock makes her jerk upright. "My Luna?" Sarah's worried voice carries through the door. Celine draws a steadying breath. "Come in." Sarah enters cautiously, concern written across her features. But Celine is already rebuilding her walls, piece by piece, tucking away the betrayal and hurt behind her usual mask of calm. "What is it?" "The guests, my Luna. They're—" Sarah hesitates. "With both you and the Alpha absent, things are getting out of hand. Some are demanding explanations, others are making threats about broken protocols, and the more aggressive ones—" Celine's head jerks up. Of course it all falls to her. Again. "Should I start clearing the ballroom?" Sarah asks tentatively. "Absolutely not," Celine commands. "Every person down there represents vital alliances, trade agreements, political connections. We cannot afford to slight a single one." She moves toward her dressing room with renewed purpose. "We must make them forget this incident. Remind them instead of who we are and what they stand to lose should they forget themselves in gossip." "As my Luna commands," Sarah says, inclining her head. Chapter 8. Celine adjusts the fall of midnight blue silk against her skin. The new dress is a calculated risk. The neckline dips just low enough to draw attention, the fabric clinging to her in ways her usual conservative choices don't. Her tactic works, though, the ballroom hushing as she enters. Good. Slowly, she walks toward the center of the room and lifts her champagne glass as the remaining murmurs fade to silence. They're staring again. Good. Tonight needs to end on a strong note rather than on Bella's unfortunate incident. "Distinguished guests," Celine's voice carries clear across the room. "I want to thank you all for joining us on this momentous evening." She allows her gaze to sweep the crowd, meeting eyes deliberately. "Our pack has always valued its alliances above all else," Celine pursues. "In times of change, it is these bonds between us that remain our greatest strength." She pauses, letting the weight of her next words settle like steel beneath silk. "And we do not forget those who stand with us, just as we do not forget those who might question our strength in moments of transition." The threat lands precisely where she intends it. Several of the more vocal critics from earlier shift uncomfortably on their feet. "To our continued prosperity," she concludes, raising her glass, "and to the bright future we will build together." The applause that follows is enthusiastic, if slightly nervous. Rather well played on Celine's part, she tells herself. But as the clapping dies down, though the stares remain, her heart sinks. Traditionally, the Alpha and Luna's last dance marks the evening's end. Obviously her Alpha isn't here, so now Celine looks like a fool once more. Dear God, how is she going to get out of this one? She might have thought more about it if she'd had the time, but... "I believe," a familiar voice cuts through her thoughts, "you'll be needing a new partner." Jace cuts an impressive figure in his perfectly tailored black suit. His blue eyes, framed by thick lashes that would make any woman envious, gleam with something that might be mischief as he extends one elegant hand toward her. The crowd's collective intake of breath is audible. "How fortunate that you're available," Celine replies, carefully. His fingers close around hers, long and elegant, yet marked with the subtle calluses of a warrior. Her wolf stirs at the contact, cooler than a wolf's should be, a reminder that he's something else entirely, something dangerous and undeniably alluring. The first notes of music swell as he draws her into position. His other hand settles at her waist, the touch light but deliberate. As the dance begins, Celine finds herself noticing details she shouldn't. How dark waves of hair fall rakishly across his forehead, or the elegant line of his throat. "Shall we discuss the true reason why your brother couldn't make it tonight?" she murmurs. "I rather thought the exchange of resources we've been offering your pack would have been enough to entice him." Jace lets out a genuine laugh. "And here I thought we'd be exchanging empty pleasantries. I see you don't waste any time, my queen." He guides her through a turn that brings them chest to chest. "Well, I don't know how much time you'll be affording us," Celine retorts, swaying to her right. Jace catches her mid-twirl, moving with the fluid grace of his leopard nature. His steps are precise, yet effortless, and only many years of practice allow Celine to follow without looking a fool. "I'll be here a while, I assure you." The leopard smirks, his smile turning enigmatic. "Your pack has made quite an impression." Around them, the crowd watches with barely concealed fascination as her partner executes a perfect dip. Celine hears a couple gasps, acknowledging the controlled strength in the arms supporting her. "I must apologize for my mate's absence," she manages when he writes her. "He'll be available again soon." "Will he?" Jace's voice drops lower. "Somehow I doubt that, given the situation he's attending to." Celine tenses at the implication, which Jace notices immediately. His scent envelops her then, soothing and apologetic. It is different from a wolf's scent, no forest or earth, but something darker, sandalwood and midnight air, with an underlying note of danger that makes her wolf sit up and take notice. "Don't misunderstand, my queen," he says. "I couldn't care less what your alpha gets up to. He's not the one I find interesting here." The words catch her off guard, and that devastating half-smile playing at the corners of his mouth doesn't help. "Truth be told," he adds as the music begins to fade, "I find your alpha's new consort even less interesting than he is. His infatuation with her truly is baffling." He brings Celine's hand to his lips, the kiss barely a whisper against her skin, yet feeling like a brand. Their dance ends, and with it, the silence around them becomes absolute. Celine hyper-aware of how every eye in the room is fixed on this moment. Jace notices too and smirks. "On behalf of the leopard shifters, I must express our deepest appreciation to Luna Celine and her pack for this extraordinary evening," he says, turning to address the crowd. "Your hospitality and grace are unmatched." The applause that follows is thunderous. Celine maintains her composure, though she can feel the weight of speculation in every gaze. Has she achieved what she wanted? To make everyone forget the scandal of Bella's heat? Is her pack's reputation salvaged? Only time will tell. "Ladies and gentlemen," Celine announces, grateful for the excuse to step away from Jace's lingering touch. "If you'll join me in the gardens, we have a special surprise prepared." The night air carries the sweet scent of late-blooming jasmine as guests filter onto the terraces. But Celine finds herself distracted by a different scent, sandalwood and midnight air, growing stronger as Jace moves to stand beside her. She doesn't turn to look at him, but her entire body seems to vibrate with awareness of his presence. Even the slight shift of his weight makes her wolf's ears prick forward. "You're still here," she observes, proud of how steady her voice sounds. "Where else would I be?" His voice holds that hint of amusement that seems permanent. The first firework explodes overhead, painting the garden in gold. Celine seizes the moment to redirect the conversation to safer ground. "Leo had hoped to introduce you to his sister, Helen." "Ah, yes, that particular Trojan horse." Jace's laugh is low and rich. "My brother didn't want her, and neither do I." The bluntness startles a snort of laughter from her before she can stop it. "Are you really so opposed to wolf shifters?" "It's not about being wolves." Another explosion illuminates his profile, all sharp angles and dangerous beauty. It's about true mates. Leopards need them, unlike other shifters. To bear more leopard shifters, she summarizes, watching colors rain down from above. So it is true there's no hope of one being born from a nun-fated pair? Quite, Jace confirms. And my dear brother is adamant about maintaining the royal bloodline. His devotion to tradition truly is rather exhausting. Celine weighs her next words carefully. She's witnessed Leo's failed attempts to force this issue, knows how badly direct pressure backfires with the leopards. What are the chances of your brother finding the one? She asks lightly. Slim to none, Jace admits with a tight smile. Though we do have certain advantages in our search. Advantages? Celine repeats. What do you mean? What I just said, Jace quips, as another firework bathes his face in blue light. Celine obviously doesn't quite know what he means by that, and he knows it. She holds back a frown at this calculated disadvantage. Must be difficult, waiting for someone you might never meet, she observes. Better that than to mate with someone unfaithful who shares another's heat, Jace retorts. The words hit like a physical blow, Celine sharply reminded of what Leo is doing now, who he's with. Finding nothing nice to reply, her mood soured. She aims to leave, but Jace catches her wrist. If you felt venom in those words, he tells her softly, it wasn't aimed at you. Rather, it was for the fool who doesn't know how to properly honor his mate. Celine stills, thinking his judgmental tone founded by the conservatism of leopard culture, their strict adherence to propriety and tradition. Our marriage was arranged, she finds herself explaining. Neither the alpha nor I had much of a say in it, and as a result, our union always lacked a certain... She makes the mistake of meeting Jace's gaze and loses her train of thought. A certain what? He murmurs. Heat creeps up her neck. Well, passion, I suppose. She sighs. Jace's considering nod is almost comical. Well, some men just don't know how to please a woman. The laugh bursts out before she can stop it. It has nothing to do with that, she protests. Oh, don't try to deny it now that you've laughed. I know the truth. Jace's grin is infectious. Truth is important between friends, my queen. And we are going to be friends, aren't we, you and I? I do hope you'll feel comfortable being honest with me. Celine holds back a smile because she doesn't want to seem too eager, but she is thriving for friendship, Ella friendship that could help her avoid wars. If it pleases you, I suppose I could try, she says. Jace's smirk turns downright cat-like. Lovely, he purrs. How about we exchange truths right now? You start, he encourages. Why should I start? She protests. Because I'm shy, obviously. Jace replies, well aware no one would ever think him shy. Celine rolls her eyes, though marking a pause. What can she say that's neither too revealing nor thin enough to feel as an excuse? If Jace sincerely seeks her friendship, she should play along, though not giving him any tactical advantage either. Anytime, Jace jokes, wiggling his brows. Whenever you're ready, take your... I'm thinking, Celine snaps. For so long? That doesn't seem very genuine. Jace pouts. Friends act genuine. Fine. Celine interrupts. I was grateful you asked me to dance earlier. How's that? She marks a pause, noting the surprise marking his features, but before he can say anything adds, and I wasn't grateful because I was hoping to speak diplomacy, although I hope we do get to that. I was grateful because, as you must have guessed, with my mate being absent, Jace interrupts by briefly grasping onto her fingers. When he lets go not a second later, hers feel cold to Celine. Anytime, he says, meeting her eyes. His gaze feels too heavy somehow, and so Celine lowers hers. Your turn now, she says rather awkwardly. Share your truth. There is a small pause and then, right. Jace clears his throat dramatically. Well, in that case, my queen, I must confess, I find fireworks rather tacky. Celine's eyes snap back to his face immediately. Is he joking? Here she goes, sharing an intimate thought, and the best he can come up with in return is mentioning fireworks. That wasn't much of a truth, she complains, affronted. Jace's laugh rings out, bright across the garden, drawing curious glances. It's such a delighted sound. Celine finds she doesn't mind as much as should. For the first time all evening, if not in years, something feels real. She'd forgotten what that felt like. She hopes she forgets it again soon. One could grow dangerously used to it. In the sky above, another explosion of light and color illuminates the night. And, unknown to all, Bella has less than 6 months to live. Chapter 9. The morning sun lights up the castle gardens as Celine walks between the rose bushes. The air smells sweet from the flowers, mixed with something more exciting, sandalwood and night air. She can't help but smile, knowing exactly what that means. Fancy meeting you here, my queen? Jace is leaning against a marble column, looking amazing as always in his perfect suit. His dark blue eyes sparkle with trouble as he looks at her. Indeed, Celine says with a roll of her eyes. What an unexpected surprise. Almost as unexpected as yesterday morning, and the morning before that, and every morning for the past 2 months. His grin is like a cat who got the cream. Pure coincidence, I assure you, though I can't help but notice you keep showing up as well. Despite trying to stay composed, Celine smiles. These meetings have become the best part of her day these past 2 months, something she avoids thinking about. While Leo was occupied with Bella during her heat, Celine strengthened ties with the leopard pack through their charming representative. She's learned to find truth beneath his jokes, seeing past his humor shield. You seem lost in thought this morning, Jace says, walking beside her. Contemplating my many charms? Contemplating your many deflections, more like, she shoots back, but there's no anger in it. Having him so close makes her skin tingle in a way she tries hard to ignore, just like she ignores how good he smells, that dangerous mix of wild animal and possibility that makes her wolf pay attention. Speaking of deflections, he says smoothly, what will people say when they see their Luna smiling so much at a mere diplomatic envoy? The rumors are already quite creative. Celine's smile fades a little. The whispers have gotten bolder. Everyone's gossiping about what's going on between her and Jace. Leo, surprisingly, doesn't seem aware. After emerging from Bella's rooms, he'd thanked Celine for maintaining diplomatic relations. She suspects his mood stems from time with Bella rather than appreciation for her work. How is your brother? She asks, changing the subject. Any improvement? Jace's face closes off a bit. The real reason Michael hadn't come to that important dinner 2 months ago wasn't political. He was sick. Not many people know this, and Celine has kept the secret, understanding why the leopards don't want to look weak. Michael is... Jace's usual smooth voice breaks a little. He's Michael. She can smell his worry. Whatever support your pack needs, Celine says softly, touching his arm, you shall have it. Surely not from your darling mate? Jace's smile comes back, but it doesn't reach his eyes. That Alpha's been remarkably absent from our negotiations, though I suppose he has his hands full. She can hear the criticism seriously. The idea of an Alpha obviously favoring someone else over his mate clearly bothers Jace so much that he can't see anything good about Leo. You have my full support, she says firmly. As a friend. A friend? Jace's smile turns playful, but something in his eyes makes her breath catch. And here I was hoping I'd earned a promotion to something more by now. Something more? She raises an eyebrow as Jace steps closer. Surely I can aim for the position of best friend by now, he says. What did you think I meant, my queen? You're ridiculous, Celine laughs, trying to ignore how her heart jumps. No wonder your brother sent you here. He must have needed a break from your endless jokes. She regrets the words immediately when Jace's smile dims. Jace. She touches his arm again, gentle but firm. If you need to go home, the trade talks can wait. Family comes first. For a moment, real emotion crosses his face. Thankfulness and fear and something else she can't quite name. But before she can ask more, she hears multiple heels clicking on stone, making her wolf bristle. She knows that sound, a hunting party closing in. Oh my! Bella's voice rings out, dripping with fake surprise. I didn't expect to find anyone here. Celine turns to see Bella walking toward them, with her usual group of ladies in waiting spread out behind her in a perfect line, not a hair out of place. Bella looks especially lovely, her eyes wide with manufactured innocence as she takes in the scene before her. Well, where did you think we'd been then, Alpha's consort? Jace drawls, something in his tone making Bella's smile falter slightly. She recovers quickly, the sound of her laugh grating against Celine's heightened senses. Oh, the Alpha has been so appreciative of his Luna's hard diplomatic work, she gushes. Though I can't help but wonder why these endeavors must take place here of all places. The ladies in waiting lean forward like vultures scenting weakness. One of them, Fiona, Celine recalls, picks up her cue immediately. Isn't this where lovers traditionally meet for their secret rendezvous? The accusation hangs in the air like poison. 2 months ago, none would dare insult their Luna so blatantly, but Bella's rise has emboldened them. Some might think that, Bella adds, her voice dripping with false sympathy. But I know better. Our Luna would never do something so desperate. Her eyes lock onto Celine's. Would you, dear sister? Celine's wolf surges forward at the familiar form of address demanding she put this upstart pup in her place. But centuries of protocol hold her back. My, Jace's voice cuts through the tension like silk over steel. You seem remarkably well informed about lovers' meeting spots. Personal experience? Fiona stammers, blushing. Bella clasps her hands to her chest, though irritation flashes in her eyes. Have we offended you? Fiona meant nothing. Perhaps, Celine suggests. Fiona should think before speaking nothing. Bella turns to Jace, reaching for his arm. Tell me about your pack, she gushes. I've never met a leopard shifter. Fascinating. Something possessive coils in Celine's chest as Bella flutters her lashes at him. First lesson about leopards? Jace's voice drops dangerously. We don't appreciate strangers' touch. Bella jerks back, shocked at rejection. My Luna, Fiona protests. Surely you won't let him speak to her that way. When she's so precious to our Alpha. I'm not Jace's Luna, Celine cuts in with steel. Nor do I control him. Forgotten pack dynamics? Her gaze pins Fiona. Strange the Alpha trusts you to escort someone so precious. Fiona pales, remembering her place. Celine turns to Bella. Hope you're recovered from your indisposition. Heats can be draining. The reference to her very public heat makes Bella's cheeks flood with color. For once, the girl seems to have nothing to say. If you'll excuse us, Celine continues smoothly, we have diplomatic matters to attend to. Good day, Alpha's consort. Ladies. She sweeps past them, Jace falling into step beside her. His scent carries approval and something warmer that she chooses not to analyze. Once they're safely out of earshot, Jace's usual playful demeanor fades. I didn't realize the rumors about us had gotten quite so pointed. His lips twist. Though now we know their source. Celine says nothing, her mind racing. Bella's performance just now had revealed more than mere jealousy. It showed confidence. The kind that came from knowing one's position was secure. "I'll speak to Leo about this," Jace declares, his voice carrying an edge she rarely hears. "This behavior toward you is unacceptable." "No." Celine touches his arm briefly. "That would only make things worse. Leo would blame me for embarrassing his consort, paint our relationship as inappropriate." She sighs. "We can't risk the diplomatic progress we've made." Jace studies her face for a long moment before inclining his head. "As always, my queen proves wiser and more measured than I." Celine manages a small smile. "She's just a child acting out," she tells Jace. "She cannot harm me." She holds on to that thought through all her meetings and duties that day, through all the small fires that need putting out. She's still holding on to it when evening falls and Leo's birthday celebration brings shocking news that changes everything. News that would shatter the last pieces of Celine's carefully built world. And that would set into motion the events leading up to Mira's death. Chapter 10. The Grand Plaza Hotel stands tall against the dark sky, its lights glowing like gold stars against the white marble and shiny windows. Celine waits at the entrance in her emerald green silk dress, which looks dark against the warm light pouring out from inside. She can hear the party going strong, music and laughter floating out into the night. She smells Leo before she sees him, that mix of pine trees and power, with something else. He's angry, and then he appears, impatient and quick, his suit hugging his broad shoulders excessively, his gaze dark and impenetrable. "We need to discuss your behavior this morning," he says right away. Celine's back goes straight. "My behavior?" Bella was quite upset. Leo's jaw tightens. "She came to me in tears, speaking of your hostility." "I was not hostile." "No?" His eyes narrow. "You just stood by while that leopard insulted her." "I can hardly control Jace's actions." "Ah, yes, Jace." Leo's smile isn't really a smile at all. "I've been hearing interesting rumors about you two." Celine feels her face get hot, but she keeps looking right at him. "Rumors started by your consort, no doubt." "Don't be ridiculous." Leo waves his hand like he's swatting away a fly. "As if Jace would be interested in you. He's young, full of life. You're—" He looks her up and down, making it clear what he thinks. The words hurt like punches, but Celine won't let it show. "If you have a point to make, Alpha, make it. My point is that I expect you to be nicer to Bella. I've told you before, she's special." His face gets darker. "I didn't know you to be cruel, Celine." "Cruel?" The word tastes bad in her mouth. "Don't play dumb either. It doesn't work for you." Leo steps closer, making her feel small. "Bella is delicate. Remember that?" Before she can say anything back, he waves for her to go into the hotel first. As soon as they walk through the doors, Celine's senses are overwhelmed. Crystal chandeliers hang everywhere on the ceiling. The walls are covered in gold that catches the light and throws it around like sparkles. Fountains flow with champagne next to tables packed with fancy foods. Everything looks way too flashy, exactly the kind of showing off that Leo usually hates. She sees him frown a little as he looks around, but then... "Alpha!" The crowd splits apart like the Red Sea, and there's Bella in a dress that makes Celine's breath stop. It's like liquid gold wrapped around every curve, cut so low in the back it's almost shocking. The front isn't much better, showing flashes of skin every time she moves. Around her, her friends flutter like excited birds, whispering and giggling. They keep looking at Celine, whispering more. Bella throws herself into Leo's arms with a happy squeal. "Do you like my dress?" She purrs. "Gorgeous," he growls, so quiet only shifters could hear it. "I wanted to wear it while I still could," Bella announces much louder. "Soon I might not fit such tight things." "You know I prefer you in nothing at all," Leo whispers, his hand sliding over her bare back. We could arrange that right now. Celine forces herself to stand tall while everyone looks at her with pity. Some don't even try to hide what they're thinking. After all, what kind of Luna lets her mate act like this? She catches movement across the room. Jace raises his champagne glass to her with a friendly wink. Something tight in her chest loosens, just a little. Leo steps forward then, commanding attention with his mere presence. My people, his voice carries easily through the crowd. Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you to my beautiful consort for arranging such a spectacular celebration. Celine's brow furrows. This level of ostentation would normally irritate him. Instead, he seems almost pleased. Though I must confess, he continues, I've already received the greatest gift imaginable this year. His smile grows predatory, triumphant. I am to be a father. The words hit Celine like a slap. She feels everyone turn to stare at her, waiting to see what she'll do. Across the crowd, Jace has gone white, though his face stays carefully blank. Bella, Leo extends his hand, drawing her forward. Come, my love. Let everyone see you, the mother of my son. The girl practically floats to his side, basking in the attention as Leo drops to one knee before her. My miracle, he declares, pressing his face to her still flat stomach. How did I get so lucky? To find someone so pure, so perfect. Each word stabs into Celine's heart. Memories flood back, years of hoping so hard, followed by crushing sadness. The quiet pain of watching her cycle start each month, of dealing with Leo getting more and more angry, of having no space to be sad herself between his disappointment and everyone judging her. Celine. Leo's voice cuts through her thoughts. He's still kneeling before Bella, but his eyes lock onto hers with dangerous intensity. Aren't you going to congratulate your sister? The threat in his tone is clear. She knows what he expects, what they all expect. The perfect Luna, gracious even in humiliation. Celine steps forward, her mask of composure firmly in place. Congratulations, she manages, the word tasting like ash. Bella practically glows with triumph. I'll be counting on you to help look after her, Leo adds, his tone making it clear this is not a request. After all, what could be more important than the future of our pack? Our pack, Celine thinks to herself, like she has any right to call it hers anymore, like she ever did. Chapter 11. Celine escapes the party, though every step brings stares, curious, judging, mocking, and worst of all, pitying. None of it feels real. She'd spent years telling herself that if she couldn't have a baby, it wasn't the right time. When hope hurt too much, she'd buried those feelings deep. But now those walls are breaking down, and the truth hits. She'd never be a mother. She never got pregnant, and now her mate barely looks at her, let alone touches her. What hope could she possibly have left? She doesn't realize she's made it to the hotel's roof garden until the cool night air hits her face. She's not sure if she likes the quiet, but it doesn't last long anyway. A familiar scent, sandalwood and night air, tells her of Jace's arrival. It is a while before he speaks. I can't truly understand, for it's not like I could bear a child myself, he says softly. But I do know what it's like to worry you'll never be a parent. Celine turns to look at him, surprised. Some pack members are allowed to mate outside our kind, Jace explains. But as the alpha's brother, the spare heir, I'm expected to produce pure-blooded leopard children. Which means that your king refuses to let you be with anyone but your fated mate, Celine finishes. Jace's mouth becomes a straight line. Precisely, he says. And is it not what you want? Celine asks, not knowing exactly why, only that her heart beats faster as she waits for his answer. I wouldn't mind fathering a child who wasn't pure leopard. Jace's eyes smiles, though it isn't a joyful smile. I wish I had the autonomy to choose, but obligations are obligations. I have mine, just as you have yours. To serve this pack, she whispers, no matter what. The words taste bitter now. She sighs, resisting the urge to let her forehead rest on his broad shoulder. God knows she could use the support. Every month I'd tell myself maybe this time. She whispers, holding back a shaky laugh. I'd even convince myself I felt different, that there were symptoms, signs. And I'd think this time, surely this is it. This is the moment I become a mother. Celine. Jace begins. But the words won't still. They come out in a desperate flow. Eventually, I couldn't bear it anymore, she whispers. The hope, the crushing disappointment. Even lying with him became... She shakes her head. Not that I was ever particularly enthusiastic to begin with, she adds sourly. You'll be a mother someday, Jace says with surprising conviction. I'm certain of it. Perhaps, Celine sighs, unconvinced. I do hope so, just like I hope your fated mate is closer than you think. I doubt that. Jace's expression turns thoughtful. We leopards, we're born with our soulmate's name marked on our skin. We call them soul marks. What? Celine sits up straighter. I've never heard of this. It isn't something we advertise. It comes a bit awkward, having somebody else's name tattooed over your body when you're, naked with someone else. Heat floods Celine's face as she pictures it. Jace's body marked with mysterious writing, his soulmate's name written somewhere private. Would it be on his chest, over his heart, or maybe across his hip? There you are. Bella's voice shatters the moment. I was hoping we'd find you both here. She appears through the garden archway on Leo's arm, her golden dress catching the light of paper lanterns. The Alpha's eyes immediately fixing on the scant space between Celine and Jace. Nostrils flare slightly as he takes in their proximity, his scent shifting from pine to something sharper, more territorial, and Jace, rather than creating distance, shifts subtly closer to Celine and smirks. I was just telling Leo, Bella continues, how wonderful it will be having Celine as an aunt to our baby. Her smile brightens. And of course, Jace can be uncle. The silence that follows feels like glass about to shatter, but Bella barrels on. We should all go out together sometime. A double date would be so fun, wouldn't it, my love? She turns to Leo expectantly. Since everyone knows about Celine and Jace anyway. Leo's growl cuts through the night air. My Luna, he emphasizes the possessive, knows exactly what I expect regarding her fidelity. Bella's confidence falters. But surely, fidelity? Jace drawls, his casual tone belied by the predatory grace with which he shifts his weight. If you can have a consort, surely Celine is entitled to the same privileges you enjoy. Celine's heart stops. She tries to catch his eye, but Jace's attention is fixed on Leo, his smile carrying all the deadly playfulness of a cat with a mouse. What are you doing? She wants to scream. Doesn't he understand how dangerous this game is? Leo goes rigid. The scent of aggression rolls off him in waves, but Jace appears utterly unconcerned. If anything, his smile widens. Alpha, Bella whimpers. But for once, he barely seems to notice her. Celine is my Luna, Leo snarls, each word heavy with alpha command. Nobody else will touch her. Why would she even think of straying? Jace's voice turns silk smooth, deadly. When you've done nothing but flaunt a poor replacement in her face? Celine grabs Jace's arm in warning, but it's too late. Leo's fury explodes outward, his power pressing against their skin like a physical force. The very air seems to crackle with barely contained violence, waves of alpha dominance rolling off him in waves. "There is no replacement," he roars, his voice more wolf than human. "This changes nothing. She is my mate, my Luna, she belongs to me." Jace's own power rises, his smile feral, all teeth and predatory intent. The two males circle each other, neither willing to back down. Any moment now, Celine knows someone will draw first blood. The tension coils tighter, tighter. "Enough!" Her voice cracks like thunder in the charged air. "I won't stand here and watch this ridiculous display of male posturing." "You would know through our bond if I'd taken a lover, Alpha, just as I've been acutely aware of your activities." "As for you, Jace, I can speak for myself with my Alpha." She berates. "I am Luna here." Bella bursts into tears, reaching for Leo. "Alpha, please." She doubles over when he doesn't reply, clutching her stomach. "Something's wrong," she gasps. "The baby." "How convenient." Jace rolls his eyes, though wincing when Celine elbows him in the stomach. Meanwhile, all other concerns forgotten, Leo sweeps Bella into his arms. "Hold on, little one," he murmurs, already turning toward the stairs. His gaze locks with Celine's one final time in a clear warning. The one not to stray, and to keep pleasing him. Celine watches him disappear, faint tremors running through her. Only once he is gone does she whirl on Jace. "What were you thinking?" she asks, voice shaking in a combination of fury and fear. Hearing it, Jace's smirk finally falter. "I was thinking," he says slowly, "that someone needed to show that idiot what he stands to lose." "By what? Starting a war between our packs? Do you have any idea what you've done?" Jace's expression hardens. "I showed him you're not his possession to neglect as he pleases." "That wasn't your right." The words burst from her like shrapnel. "No?" His eyes flash dangerously. "Then whose right is it? His? To parade his pregnant mistress in front of you? To demand your fidelity while he—" "Stop it!" Celine whirls away from him, storming back down a path that leads away from the party. Music and laughter fade behind them as she pushes deeper into the hotel's sprawling grounds, but his scent follows, wrapping around her like silk and shadows. "You shouldn't have provoked him like that." "I won't stand by and watch him treat you this way." Jace's voice drops lower, rougher as he follows her away from prying eyes. "And neither should you." Downstairs, finally outside the hotel, she tries to push past him toward a secluded grove of weeping willows. But he catches her arm, spinning her back to face him. "Why aren't you angry with him?" he demands. "Why am I the villain here when he's the one who—" "Because he's the Alpha." The words tear from her throat. "I'm bound to him, to our pack. Whatever I feel doesn't matter, don't you see? For everyone's sake, I have no choice but to make this work." "And he does not?" Jace snaps, stepping closer. Celine's back hits a tree trunk. "Why does it all fall on you, Celine?" He insists, the moonlight casting dappled shadows across his face. "Why aren't his obligations to the pack as sacred as yours?" The question strikes too close. "My queen," he breathes, "you deserve so much better than this." "Oh?" Her laugh holds a brittle edge. "You assume to know what I deserve? Am I not your friend?" Jace challenges. "And I suppose you think you're being a good friend right now?" Celine snaps. "Yes," Jace whispers, the word ghosting across her lips. He inches closer. "Actually," he murmurs, hand sliding into her hair as he pulls her against him. "No." And then his mouth claims hers. Her wolf howls in triumph as his scent mingles with hers, the kiss fire and starlight, need and desperation. Then she steps away and slaps his face hard. Chapter 12. Celine stumbles through the hotel's marble lobby, her composure fracturing with each step. His taste still lingers on her lips like a brand. Even now she can feel the phantom press of his hands, the way his fingers tangled in her hair. How perfectly she fit against him. As if she'd been holding her breath for years, and finally remembered how to breathe. "Stop it," she commands herself, but her treacherous mind replays the moment his mouth claimed hers, how right it had felt, how... She can't think about this, won't think about this. The night doorman hails a cab, and she practically throws herself into it, needing to escape before Jace follows, before she loses what little resolve she has left. What have I done? Rain begins to fall, droplets racing down the cab's window like tears she refuses to shed. She presses her forehead against the cool glass, watching the city blur past. How could she have been so weak? She'd sworn an oath of fidelity, not just to Leo, but to the pack. Their people depend on stability, on the strength of their leader's bond. If that bond shatters completely, if neither of them upholds their vows, what example does that set? What chaos might follow? The mansion looms ahead, windows gleaming like judging eyes. Sarah waits at the entrance, concern etched across her features. My Luna? Is everything? Not now. Celine sweeps past her, past the cluster of staff hovering anxiously in the foyer. Her bedroom door closes behind her with a final sounding click. Only then does Celine allow herself to break. The first sob tears from her throat like something feral. How is she supposed to stay away from him? Jace, with his knowing smirk and gentle heart, who makes her laugh when she's forgotten how, who looks at her and sees Celine, not just the Luna's mask she wears. What does she have left without him? A mate who parades his pregnant mistress before their entire society? A rival who plays at being sister while delighting in her humiliation? A pack whose loyalty shifts like sand, whispering behind their hands about their barren Luna? All this, and a life without children, without friendship, without Jace. Enough, she murmurs. Her voice sounds strange in the silence, rough with tears but steeled. Celine forces herself to stand. She wasn't chosen as Luna for her ability to wallow in misery. The pack needs her strength now, more than ever. Steam fills the bathroom as she steps into the shower, washing away his scent, his touch, the memory of how alive Jace made her feel. When she steps out, wrapped in thick terry cloth and Luna once more, the creak of leather from her bedroom makes her freeze. Leo sits in the shadows by her window, moonlight catching on the whiskey bottle dangling from his fingers. She stares at him, his loose tie and wild hair, a stranger in her private sanctuary. Why is here? Shouldn't he be with Bella? Leo? Celine frowns. What happened? Is everything all right? The baby? A bitter laugh cuts through the darkness. The baby's fine. Leo takes a long pull from the bottle, touching how much you suddenly care. Celine stills, counts to 3, then replies, reasonably. You think me so cold as to be indifferent to the well-being of an unborn child and its mother? I don't know anymore. Leo's words slur slightly. Who even are you, Celine? I used to know, but now... His scent grows darker, more feral. You said earlier, he continues, that I'd feel it through our bond if you took a lover. For one heartbeat, hope flares within Celine. Does Leo finally understand what he's put her through? But no, his eyes gleam with accusation. You never felt quite so elated when I kissed you. He smirks. His words hit like a physical blow, and Celine realizes he'd felt it through their bond. That moment with Jace, that precious instant when she'd finally felt seen. Well played, Luna. Leo rises unsteadily, though his eyes hold a hungry gleam. I felt every moment of it, every sensation. His tongue darts out to wet his lips. You wanted me to feel it, didn't you? The realization of what he's implying makes her stomach turn. He thinks she kissed Jace to make him jealous, to get his attention. Perhaps, she says carefully, Jace is simply a better kisser. Leo's growl holds something darker than anger now. Is that what you think? He crowds her space, the smell of whiskey and arousal rolling off him in waves. Have you forgotten what it feels like with your alpha? Leo, you should have just said you missed me. His hand slides up her arm. No need for games, my Luna. I'm here now. The endearment makes her skin crawl. She tries to step back, but he follows, trapping her against the wall. Let me remind what a real man can do. His voice drops lower, trying for seductive but slurred by alcohol. We could start right now. Show that leopard what you really belong to. Shouldn't you be with Bella? Celine interrupts. She needs rest after... Shh. He presses a finger to her lips. Don't talk about her. This is about us, about what you want, what you've been trying to tell me. What I want? A laugh bubbles up in her throat. You haven't cared what I want in years. That's not true. His hands frame her face. I've always wanted you. You're the one who turned cold. The accusation would have devastated her once. Now she just feels tired. When his mouth claims hers, tasting of whiskey and misguided pride, she feels nothing. Just a bone-deep weariness and the clear understanding of what needs to be done. She kisses back, just enough for Leo to be pliant when she guides him backward toward her bed. Alcohol makes him stumble. Still, he manages a low, triumphant chuckle as he is sprawled onto the mattress, tie crooked and shirt half untucked. Show me, he growls, attempting to pull her down with him. Show your alpha how much you want him. Celine barely restrains herself from rolling her eyes. I think what the alpha needs is sleep, she says. Sleep can wait. His fingers fumble for her hands, trying to guide them where he wants them. Need to remind you who you belong to first. Celine stills his wandering hands with practiced ease. Wait for me here, she whispers. Let me change into something more appropriate. His growl of approval follows her to her dressing room. By the time she returns, fully clothed in silk pajamas, Leo is half asleep, mumbling about all the things he plans to do to her. Celine sighs, settling beside him. Once his possessive display might have thrilled her, proof that he still wanted her, still cared. Now she just finds it ridiculous. She touches her lips where he kissed her, surprised by how little she feels. Would you rather it was Jace? Leo slurs, surprising her. She thought him properly passed out, but he rolls to press his face against her thigh, hands fist in her silk pants. I want him gone from my territory by morning, he says. Celine says nothing, though her wolf whimpers at the thought. Did you hear me, Luna? All pretense of seduction has vanished, leaving only the wounded alpha. She meets his gaze, unflinching. As you command. Leo stares at her for a long moment, as if trying to make sure his victory is total. How fitting, she thinks, that even now he takes up space that should be hers, demanding comfort while giving none in return. If he isn't gone, he murmurs, eyes glassy. I'll have him killed. Michael be damned. I know. Celine starts to rise, but he pulls her back down, resting his head in her lap like a demanding child. Celine's fingers card through his hair mechanically as his breathing grows heavier. She knows Jace will have to leave. Leo won't let this challenge to his authority stand. The thought makes her chest ache. She closes her eyes, imagining darker waves sliding through her fingers, midnight blue eyes looking up at her with that dangerous sparkle. But when she opens them again, it's just Leo, finally passed out in her lap. Celine slowly rises from the bed, away from Leo, unable to stand for his touch a moment more. She sighs, gazing through her window. By tomorrow, everyone would know the Alpha had spent the night in the Luna's suite. By tomorrow, Jace would be gone. By tomorrow. Wait. There's movement in the gardens, a silhouette dressed in white moving through the foliage. Sneaking, Celine thinks. She might have not cared if it wasn't this person was sneaking. But why? An enemy? A spy? From here she cannot see a face, obscured by shadows. Until that face steps into the moonlight, and finally, Celine recognizes her. It's Bella. Bella who's supposed to be asleep in her room. Bella who is looking around like she is expecting someone. Bella who, unknown to Celine yet, only has a few months left to live. Chapter 13. Celine narrows her eyes. Bella moves with a grace too practiced to be accidental, her bare shoulders gleaming as she pauses to glance over her shoulder. What is she up to? Her wolf stirs, the protective instincts of a Luna rising. Could Bella be in trouble somehow? She'd left the festivities this evening complaining of pain. Now, though, there's no trace of that vulnerability in her lithe, purposeful movements. Celine moves to the hidden servants' passage behind her wardrobe, her pulse quickening with every quiet step. The cool stone walls of the tunnel press close around her as she descends, the musty scent of age lingering in the air. Emerging near the rose garden, she stops to orient herself. The night air is cool against her skin, but Bella's scent, always sweetly cloying, is absent. Celine breathes deeper, catching faint traces of vanilla and something artificial beneath the void, as if Bella had deliberately masked herself. Clever, Celine thinks, but not clever enough. She follows the faint trail, her steps light and soundless, when movement above catches her eye. A shadow darker than the night itself flows across the mansion's roof with liquid grace. Her breath catches as she realizes what she's seeing. A leopard, massive and sleek, moving against the midnight sky. The great cat pauses at the roof's edge, moonlight catching in its fur. Even from this distance, Celine can see how the silver light traces each powerful line of muscle, how it glints off eyes that seem to hold fragments of twilight. The leopard's gaze finds hers unerringly, and her heart skips. She would know those eyes anywhere. Jace. With fluid grace, the leopard launches itself from the roof. It lands on a nearby oak branch without a sound, then descends the trunk in a controlled slide that speaks of years of practice. When its massive paws touch the ground, Celine finds herself holding her breath. She's seen other shifters in their animal forms before, of course, but this is different. Jace moves like living shadow, each step precise and deadly. His shoulders easily reach her waist, his sleek coat rippling with barely contained power. As he approaches, she catches his scent, sandalwood and midnight air, unchanged even in this form. Evening, my queen. Celine startles as his voice echoes in her mind, rich with that familiar hint of amusement. She hadn't known they could communicate this way. Usually, telepathic bonds only work between packmates or mates. How are you doing this? She projects the thought cautiously. The leopard's whiskers twitch in what she swears is a smirk. Leopards have always been better at mind-speak than wolves, one of our many talents. Even in this form, she can hear the playful edge in his mental voice, though something in his posture betrays tension. His tail lashes once, betraying agitation that his usual mischievous facade can't quite hide. What a coincidence, running into you, my queen. Is it a coincidence? She asks softly, admiring how the moonlight turns his coat to silk. No, he admits, not at all. His mental voice lacks its usual playful lilt. Celine never thought she'd find so much wrongness in the set of a great cat's shoulders, in the way his ears flatten slightly. Wrong for its bittersweetness and wrong because it might be the last time she sees him at all. Even now, his presence makes her heart skip. Something she can no longer deny. Not after that kiss. She finds herself wanting to run her fingers through his midnight fur, to feel if it's as soft as it looks. "Why did you have to kiss me?" The words escape, heavy with regret. The leopard's ears prick forward. "That bad?" Celine snorts. "You know that's not what I meant." Emotions hang in the air between them, Celine wanting to confess he makes her feel herself again, that his presence has become the favorite part of her days. Instead, she says, resigned, "Leo wants you gone by morning." The leopard goes still, every line of his powerful body tensing. His tail lashes once, sharp and agitated, but she won't hear his protests. "He felt it," she explains hurriedly, "because if he did start protesting, she doesn't know if she could muster the strength to berate him for it." "Felt what?" Jace asks, tilting his massive head in a gesture so feline it makes her heart ache. "Our kiss," she murmurs, the words barely above a whisper. Jace says nothing for a long while. He paces a tight circle, his movements fluid despite his obvious agitation. He is so close, and yet the furthest he's ever been, the impossible weight of duty standing between them. "I'll take comfort in you acknowledging it was our kiss at least," he says eventually. He sounds resigned. Is he resigned? Is this it? It has to be. She's the one telling him to go, and she knows why she is doing it. She also knows she doesn't actually want him to go, but "You should leave tonight." Celine forces herself to meet those twilight eyes. "It would be safer." The leopard's muscles bunch as if to move toward her, but she takes a step back, though every fiber of her being screams to do the opposite. "It doesn't have to be like this." His mental voice is rough with emotion. "It does, though. You know it does." Celine lowers her gaze. "We cannot risk conflict arising between our packs over passing." She gestures vaguely between them. "I assure you there's nothing passing about my feelings for you," Jace retorts, his mental tone so full of barely restrained passion it takes all Celine has not to reach for him. "We must think of our people," she says. "This is not about us. It's never going to be about us." "I don't have to leave right away," Jace protests. "You speak of our people, but haven't we done good, working towards an alliance between our packs?" "An alliance which is close to crashing down before it was ever even set." "You don't know Leo like I do, Jace," Celine implores. "He doesn't have a bad heart, but he's impulsive. If you offend his pride any further, he could very well declare war on your pack. Would you really subject your people to that?" The leopard's tail lashes in agitation as the truth of her words sinks in. "So we let the bully win?" "Is that what you suggest, Celine?" he challenges. "Please," her voice cracks slightly, "don't make this more difficult than it already is." The great cat's muscles go rigid, but he briefly closes those twilight eyes as if to resolve himself to what Celine is asking of him. "1 minute," he murmurs in her mind. "Give me 1 minute." When she doesn't refuse, he moves closer. Though he doesn't touch her, he lifts his massive head to her neck, breathing her in as if committing her scent to memory. Celine's eyes flutter closed, fighting back tears as his presence surrounds her. Sandalwood and midnight air and everything she can never have. "Is this truly what you want?" His breath ghosts across her skin. "Yes," she whispers, the lie tasting like ashes. The leopard straightens, the loss of his warmth immediate and devastating. "Very well," he projects, inclining his noble head. "I will do as my queen commands." As he turns to leave, she finds her voice one last time. "I hope you find your fated mate, Jace." He stops, his powerful form rigid in the moonlight. "Celine." His mental voice caresses her name. "I wish it was your name I'd been marked with." For a moment, she thinks he might turn back. Instead, he melts into the shadows like mist, leaving nothing but the lingering scent of sandalwood and midnight air, as if he was never there at all. Chapter 14. Celine stands frozen, each heartbeat an exercise in not running after him. When she finally moves, it's to seek Bella's trail again. Not because she particularly cares what the girl is doing anymore, but because she cannot bear to return to her rooms where Leo sleeps, not with the ghost of Jace's almost touch still burning on her skin. The garden gives way to the forest, shadows deepening around her. The air shifts, carrying a tantalizing mix of musk, sweat, and something sharper, the unmistakable tang of... Celine freezes. Desire? Then she hears it. A low, breathless gasp breaks through the quiet, followed by a deep, masculine chuckle. The sound sends a ripple of unease down her spine, her wolf focusing on instinct and sharpening her vision, to Celine's horror. Because through a tangle of branches, she sees Bella, pressed against the rough bark of an ancient oak, her white dress rucked high on her thighs. A man is with her, holding her up, shadowing her bare skin, his hands fisted in her golden curls. Celine stiffens. This is Mira's bodyguard. The last time she'd seen him, he was challenging her authority during Bella's heat. Now his lips move possessively against Bella's neck, trailing down to her exposed collarbone. Mine, he growls, the word thick with primal need. Say it. Bella gasps, her head falling back against the tree. Shut up and hurry, she whispers. Before someone... Her words dissolve into appreciative sounds that make Celine's cheeks burn with consternation. Your precious alpha may have money, Ian taunts, but does he make you feel as good as this? His hands move with rough familiarity, sliding down Bella's sides as her fingers claw at his back. The sounds of their union fill the clearing, primal and unrestrained. Well, the man insists. Does he? Ian. Bella's voice holds desperation. Yes, say my name, baby, go on. Shut up. Bella's voice is a breathless plea. Right there, don't stop. Celine fights the urge to gag. Leave him, Ian growls. Be with me instead. And what? Bella laughs breathlessly. Trade everything I've worked for your penniless ass? Celine abruptly turns away. She's seen enough. More than enough. The scent of lust hangs heavy in the air, a cloying mixture of sweat and musk that makes her stomach churn. You're just his mistress, Ian groans, sounding closer to the edge. Not even his Luna. Celine forces herself to move slowly. Despite the wet slap of flesh against flesh she longs to escape, Bella's sharp, pleading cries following her like a curse as the girl tellingly reaches her peak. Then there's silent pants, and Celine thinks that will be the end of it. Until Bella's voice cuts through the haze like a blade. For now. Bella's laugh is soft and cruel. But that won't last. Just wait and see. I'll be Luna soon enough. The words hit Celine with the force of a physical blow. Not much longer? What does she mean? Her nails bite into her palms as she steps back. A twig snaps beneath her foot, shattering the stillness. The sharp crack reverberates through the quiet night like a gunshot, sending a jolt of panic down her spine. Celine freezes, her breath caught in her throat, heart pounding so loudly she fears it might betray her. She listens intently, the sounds of the forest closing in around her. For a moment, there's nothing. Just the faint rustle of leaves in the breeze and the distant hum of Bella and Ian's voices. They haven't heard. Not yet. Move. Her wolf urges her forward, her instincts sharp with fear and the need for escape. Celine takes a cautious step back, testing the ground for noise. Nothing. Another step, her body taut with tension, her gaze darting between the tangled shadows of the trees. She slides silently into the cover of the underbrush, her movements careful, deliberate. Her heart races as she weaves through the forest, the damp earth soft beneath her feet. Her senses are on high alert, every crackle of dried leaves or whisper of wind making her flinch. The thick scent of moss and bark mingles with the fading traces of Bella's perfume, clinging to her as she puts distance between herself and the clearing. But then something changes. The air grows heavier, the forest unnaturally still. The faint rustle of leaves she'd used as cover goes silent, replaced by an oppressive quiet that prickles the back of her neck. She stops, her instincts screaming. The hair on her arms rises as her wolf growls low in her mind, a warning. She turns slowly, her pulse spiking. The shadows around her seem thicker now, shifting, closing in. And then she hears it. A soft, deliberate crunch of leaves behind her. A low snarl rumbles behind her, close enough to send a chill down her spine. She pushes harder, her legs burning as she sprints through the trees, dodging branches that claw at her hair and dress. And then, strong arms encircle her from behind. Her body slams to a halt, trapped in an unyielding grip. A hand clamps over her mouth, rough and calloused, stifling the scream that rises in her throat. She struggles, twisting, clawing, but it's no use. Well, what do we have here? Unhand me. Celine's voice carries the full weight of her authority as Luna, even muffled by his palm. Now. Ian's laugh holds no warmth. So you can run straight to the Alpha with what you've seen? I think not. Bella emerges from the shadows, her dress askew and lips swollen. Something calculating gleams in her eyes as she takes in the scene. My, I didn't think you were such a voyeur, Celine. Her smile turns sharp. Though I suppose with no one to entertain you these days. Actually, Celine's calm cuts through Bella's mockery. Your Alpha is currently passed out in my bed. The color drains from Bella's face. You wouldn't dare tell him. Her voice wavers between threat and plea. Or eyebrow, refusing to show fear despite Ian's bruising grip. Something shifts in Bella's expression, a cornered animal's desperation bleeding through her usual mask of innocence. Celine should have remembered that trapped wolves always go for the throat. Or I'll tell him you hired Ian to assault me. The words burst from Bella's lips, triumph blazing in her eyes. To terrorize his precious consort. As if anyone would believe, Celine begins. I'd crack under torture. Ian interrupts, his voice low and dangerous. Tell them exactly how you approached me. Offered me money to sully the Alpha's consort. Ice floods Celine's veins. Ian isn't just threatening, he means every word. His loyalty to Bella runs deeper than reason or self-preservation. I may be desperate for coin, he continues. But what's your excuse, Luna? Paying to harm an innocent woman? How despicable. You'd really do this? She asks quietly. Even knowing she's carrying another man's child? His grip tightens painfully. I'd do anything for Bella, he snarls. And our child. Horror crashes through Celine as she meets Bella's gaze, finding only smug satisfaction there. See you at breakfast tomorrow, sister. Bella steps close, patting Celine's cheek with mock affection. Her voice drops to a whisper. And stay away from Leo. I don't like sharing my things. Ian releases Celine with a rough shove, already moving to Bella's side like a loyal guard dog. They disappear into the shadows together, leaving Celine alone with the weight of what she's discovered. Though that weight was soon to come crashing down, and Bella would lose her life in the process. Chapter 15. 4 months pass like honey dripping from a spoon, slow, sticky, and impossible to rush. The seasons turn, leaves falling golden from the trees, and still Celine wakes each morning with the ghost of sandalwood and midnight air lingering in her dreams. Today, The gardens have been transformed into a pastel wonderland for Bella's baby shower. Gauzy fabric drapes between towering flower arrangements, crystal chandeliers hanging impossibly from tree branches. Tables groan under the weight of elaborate cakes and delicate pastries, each crafted to match the pink and cream color scheme Bella had specified in her extensive list of requirements. Requirements that, as Luna, Celine could hardly refuse. What Leo's consort wants, she gets, especially now, with her belly swollen beneath flowing silk, every glimpse of it making their alpha practically glow with pride. Celine surveys the gathering, noting the smaller-than-expected turnout. Bella's mood has grown increasingly sharp as each hour brings new excuses from invited pack members. Even now, her smile holds an edge as she turns to Celine, eyes wide with practiced innocence. "This is too much, Celine," Bella gushes, gesturing at the elaborate decorations. "You should have told Leo not to spoil me so. I really don't need all this." Behind her, Ian looms like a storm cloud, his scowl deepening with each simpered word. Celine doubts he enjoys watching Bella play happy family with Leo any more than she enjoys arranging it, but they're hardly going to commiserate. "Perhaps Luna Celine likes to live vicariously through you, my lady," Fiona's voice carries deliberately across the garden. "After all, she's never going to have a baby shower held in her honor, will she?" Bella's face crumples into an expression of exquisite concern. "Well, if you think doing this for me helps her feel better, then I guess I shouldn't worry about how much of our charity budget went into this instead of to the orphanages." Her eyes fill with tears. "I mean, I want nothing more than for my dear older sister to get closure, but I just can't help but think of the poor children." "No budget was cut, Lady Bella, I assure you." Celine sips her tea, letting the scalding liquid burn away her retort. "Please, enjoy your party free of guilt." Bella's answering smile is all edges, sharp enough to draw blood. Her supposed concern for orphaned children rings as hollow as everything else about her. Celine scans the crowd for Leo, unsurprised by his absence. She's barely seen him these past 3 months, though the ache of his neglect pales in comparison to the constant hollow beneath her ribs where Jace's laughter used to live. "The baby will give hope and joy to our pack," she reminds herself, watching Bella pat her swollen belly. "Even if its parentage is not what everyone believes." Sarah approaches through the crowd, her expression grave as she hands Celine a thick envelope. "For you, my Luna," she murmurs, giving Celine a heavy glance. "To open in private." Celine frowns. If this was private, why bring it here in the public eye? Sarah knows better. The matter must truly be urgent. She glimpses down at the letter, fingers tracing the leopard pack's seal, red wax, perfect and unbroken. Celine's heart stutter. "I will be just a moment." She excuses herself, albeit not as smoothly as she normally would, though not finding it in herself to care. The letter's weight feels ominous in her hands while she searches for a quiet corner, one she finds beneath a weeping willow. The expensive paper feels heavy in her hands, formal and final. This is a death notice, she thinks. The letter crumbled in her end. She has seen enough of them in her role as Luna, the formal seal, the careful calligraphy of her name. This is how they announce death. But why would they notify her unless... Her throat closes around the thought she can't complete. The envelope feels like lead now, and he doesn't want to open it. Doesn't want to know. "Just do it," she commands herself, but her hands won't stop shaking. She breaks the seal with unsteady fingers. "We regret to inform you." The first line reads. The words blur before her eyes. She can't read further, can't bear to see the name that will shatter her world. The thought of a most precious face forever still, of twilight eyes closed, that quicksilver smile silenced, it steals her breath. "My Luna?" Sarah's voice breaks through her spiral. The Alpha hasn't been informed yet. Celine doesn't reply, mind swirling with thoughts of him. Jace. They haven't spoken since that moonlit night when she sent him away, but she sustained herself imagining him happy, throwing that devastating smirk at his older brother, maybe even finding his fated mate. "My Luna?" Sarah insists. "Perhaps you should warn him?" "Warn him?" Celine repeats, feeling quite dumb. "About Alpha Michael's death?" "Your mate will be expected to comment." "Michael?" The name doesn't register at first, but then... "Oh!" Celine frantically scans the rest of the letter. Indeed, it announces the passing of the Leopard Pack's Alpha after his long illness. Oh my gosh. Relief makes her dizzy. Jace must be devastated. Alpha Michael had no heirs, Sarah points out carefully, which means his younger brother will inherit the title, given his strained relationship with Alpha Leo, perhaps. Yes. Celine steadies herself against the willow's trunk. Yes, I'll speak to him. She moves toward the mansion, leaving behind Bella's carefully crafted fantasy of domestic bliss. Her heart races with a complicated mix of relief and grief. Not for Michael, if she's honest, but for the pain Jace must be feeling. Her footsteps echo in the empty corridor as she heads toward Leo's office, mind spinning. Jace. No, Alpha Jace now. How is he handling this? Losing a brother and inheriting a pack's worth of troubles in one breath. She should write to him, let him know her heart is with him in this difficult time. Forever, whispers a treacherous voice in her mind, but she pushes that thought away. Voices drift through Leo's partially open door. Her mate isn't alone. She recognizes Kendrick's measured tones. Does Luna Celine know about this? The beta asks. Leo's answering growl carries clear warning. I'd like the matter clarified before I tell her. Celine pauses, frowning. Something in their tone makes her wolf's ears prick forward. As it stands, Alpha, Kendrick continues carefully, I've never heard of mating being broken without the second party's approval. You mean there's no way around getting Celine on board? Leo snaps. The words hit like physical blows. Broken bonds? Surely they're not talking about... No. Surely Leo cannot be thinking about breaking his bond with Celine. Luna Celine would have to accept your rejection, Kendrick replies evenly, and reject you back. I will speak to her. Leo's impatience is palpable. It's probably best I let her know about this first before telling Bella. You don't think Lady Bella will want to replace Celine as Luna? Leo's snort carries through the door. Bella will do what I think is best. I'm not worried about her. But making Celine understand this is what the pack needs, that it's necessary to make my child an official heir. You really think she has no idea, Kendrick interrupts, that she doesn't suspect? Celine has eyes and ears all over this place. Leo's voice rises. If she doesn't know of my intentions already, she will soon. Then the sooner you speak with her and secure her approval, the better. Footsteps approach the door. They're coming. They'll see her. Celine flees, knowing her scent will betray her presence anyway, but needing these precious moments to process. Her mind whirls with implications, the pack's stability, the alliances she's cultivated, the thought of Bella wielding a Luna's power, but her heart. Her heart swells at the idea of freedom, and she cannot help it. The word tastes like possibility, like everything she's forbidden herself to want. Freedom means being able to see Jace again, and there's nothing to stop the elation from growing in her chest at the thought. Such elation, though, is not meant to last. When Celine returns to the gardens, its tranquility has shifted into a sea of chaos, a small crowd forming around what used to be the centerpiece of the celebration, Bella's seat. Celine smells distressed and sharp scent filling the air, hears the sounds of unanswered questions echoing with gasps around the gardens. She approaches, dazed by it all. Michael's death, her impeding dethronement, this unexplainable agitation, and then, "It was you!" Someone screams, someone Celine recognizes as Fiona. She hears before she sees her, But then the crowd spreads apart as she approaches, wide stares falling onto Celine, freezing her in place. That is when she smells it, the unmistakable, cloying scent of death. Someone has died. Someone. Bella lies at the center of the crowd, her head on Ian's lap, face pale and still. And in her hand is the silver cup chosen carefully by Celine, glinting accusingly in the afternoon sun. "It was you!" Fiona screams again, and this time Celine does see her, her eyes crazed and wild. "She touched that cup and collapsed. You killed her." That is when Celine's mind finally registers that the lady-in-waiting is pointing right at her. That it is her, Celine, that Fiona is accusing of murder. And that, seeing the fleeting glances of the surrounding crowd, nobody plans to defend her. Neither the guests nor the staff, neither her friends nor Bella's, and certainly her mate, whose thundering roar suddenly cracks through the air like a whip. Chapter 16. Leo gathers Bella's lifeless form in his arms, her golden head lolling against his chest. "No one leaves," he commands, voice raw. "Guards, bring the Luna. The rest stay here until questioned." The healer's chamber feels too bright, too sterile for the darkness gathering in Leo's eyes as he lays Bella on the examination table. The head healer barely needs a moment. One glance at the blackened corner of Bella's lips tells the story. "Poison," she confirms grimly. "I'll need a few hours to determine which one." Leo dismisses everyone but Celine, his pacing like a caged animal's, grief and fury rolling off him in waves. The silence stretches, charged with decades of unspoken grievances. "I'm sorry for your loss," Celine offers quietly, because she is. At that, Leo whirls on her, eyes crazed. "Did you do it?" He barks. "What?" Celine frowns. Is he joking? "Did you?" Leo barks, thunderous. "How can you even ask me that?" Celine shakes her head in a mix of stupor and disappointment. "Why would I even do something like this?" "Because you knew." Leo's laugh holds no warmth. "You knew about my plans to reject our bond, didn't you, Celine?" When she remains silent, his fist slams into the wall. "Don't lie to me." "Yes, I knew." Celine keeps her voice steady, "but I wouldn't kill Bella over it. Or anyone." "Of course not." Leo's smile turns cruel. "After all, the cold-headed Celine is always above it all, isn't she? How could I even think you'd care about our broken bond?" Her fingers curl into fists. "Why is it that I can do nothing right with you?" She argues. "I accept your decision. I'm cold and unloving. I don't accept it. I'm a murderer." "Well, which is it then, Leo?" He looked like he wants to retort, though without a clear ideas as to what. She doesn't let him. "All I've ever done is be loyal to you, to this pack. I've stood by you, supported you. I was the perfect Luna. And what if I wanted a mate instead?" The words explode from him, years of resentment behind them. Someone warm, someone loving, instead of a cold, calculating woman who undermines me at every turn. He turns to Bella's lifeless form, his face crumbling. "She was loving," he murmurs, caressing her cheek. "The way she looked at me, the things she'd say to me." Understanding crashes through Celine like ice water. All these years, all this time, she'd worked to help him achieve his goals. She'd been wounding pride. Her quiet competence had made him feel unnecessary. By standing beside him instead of behind him, she'd threatened the very thing he needed most, to feel powerful, needed, in control. "What a fool I've been," she thinks. All she'd needed was to smile prettily, to pretend his every decision was brilliant, beyond her comprehension. To rule while pretending she didn't, to help while feigning helplessness, to speak truth only in the form of praise. "I was going to reject the bond for just a year," Leo continues, running a hand through his hair. "Just long enough to legitimize the baby. Then I'd have taken you back." His eyes meet hers, almost pleading. I know you're the better Luna. I also know you'd do anything for this pack. And that includes murder? The word tastes like ash in Celine's mouth. The murder of a woman and her unborn child? You really think me capable of this? Her chest aches with the weight of it. How could a decade of dedication earn her nothing but suspicion? If not you, then who? Leo shakes his head. Who would dare attempt something like this on my territory? Who could even begin to succeed in harming my consort under my watch? Who but you, Celine? Celine's mouth snaps shut. It's all becoming clear now. This isn't about her at all. This, like everything else, is about Leo's ego. He needs the formidable Luna Celine to be the culprit, because the alternative, that his consort was murdered under his protection, makes him look weak. Better to believe his brilliant, cunning mate orchestrated this than admit he failed to protect what was his. We don't even know what killed her yet, she points out. There's no proof. Your coldness truly knows no bounds, does it? He cuts in. She's barely cold, and already you're strategizing. The accusation strikes home. My level-headedness doesn't make me a killer, Leo. Something in her voice must reach him because his shoulders slump. You're right, he whispers, suddenly looking old. It's just, she was so young. And the baby. I am sorry, Celine says softly, meaning it. For a moment, understanding passes between them, a glimpse of the partnership they might have had, if pride and duty hadn't twisted them both. The door bursts open. Alpha! A guard's voice shatters the moment. His face is ashen, hand trembling as he holds out a delicate crystal vial. We found this hidden beneath the Luna's floorboards. In his outstretched hand, a small crystal vial gleams like an accusation. Even from across the room, Celine catches the acrid scent of nightshade. The healers confirm it's the same poison that killed Lady Bella, and there's more. He produces a leather-bound journal, its pages marked with precise notations about toxins and their effects. This was in the Luna's room, too. No, Celine whispers, shaking her head. I've never seen this before in my life, Leo. You have to believe me. But Leo's eyes have already turned to molten gold, his wolf rising with murderous intent. Seize her, he orders, voice brimming with anger and something dangerously resembling triumph. Thank you for watching. Fear not, Part 2, the finale part, is already written and coming super soon, in a week at most. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed this, please consider helping me start this new year with a bang by giving it a like or comment.